Direwolves versus Legacy coming up in a minute. Can we just get Mammoth winning more? Because those boys make for great couch companions.
They're just so excited.
They
And
are.
I like that.
I like genuine enthusiasm. I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of genuine enthusiasm as well, and I think that they are a team that is like on a really important part of their journey right now. Because if they pick up momentum, teams like that are really annoying to play against because they have literally like the nothing to lose mentality.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we had like rolling through the gauntlet. When like you're nearly down and out, right? Everything looks really, really grim.
Yeah.
If you find actually what makes you successful, you know that no one's really studying you all that much to like shut down exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you can pick up a lot of traction and momentum, and you can tell that the team's starting to get some of that self-belief back. It's cool to watch.
Also, I just appreciate a man, and by man, I do mean boy, who has the confidence to correct his elders on broadcast. I mean, that takes...
That was out for a shit, and I wasn't
Yeah.
going to say anything about it because
No.
he's about 19'2" and could probably snap me in half.
That takes some real
one-arm bench
quakers to
guy.
be able to do that.
I don't
So,
even think
well done.
one arm. Like I'm thinking like pinky curls, Rusty.
True.
Like just his hands are huge. How does he hold a mouse?
Imagine beating that guy in League of Legends. That'd be terrifying. He's just next door.
Maybe that's been the problem with Mammoth. It's just taken him 6 weeks to figure out how to use the keyboard.
started
where he's going
yelling.
from 3 buttons at a
Yeah.
time. What a boss. Well done, Mammoth. All right, it is time to, for your animal stories. This is Totally Wild. Waiting for the graphic.
We do not have it. I heard
We
it.
don't have it. That's fine. This is Totally Wild. You saw it before. All right. First story comes in from the ever-reliable In Search of Shu. My best friend had 2 cats. One got pregnant and had 6 kittens. She adopted some out.
That makes 8 cats.
Yep. When we went to get the cat fixed, we found out she was pregnant again, and it had 8 kittens.
14 cats.
And that's how
Wait,
I
16
lived
cats.
with 15 cats.
15.
Yeah.
What happened to one of the cats? If this is a massive question.
Wait,
in search-
6, 2,
Two,
that's
eight.
8, plus 8,
16.
16. A cat must have died. And that makes a sad story.
Damn.
God damn it. I said no bummers.
God, no maths on the OPL.
No
is
maths
my
on the OPL,
takeaway
that's
from
the
this.
rule. And-
What are you doing?
And what we're missing here
I thought
is-
that
was a
that really
submission.
read like a maths problem.
it did. Yeah, like, how many cats do you
a
have?
train is going 60 kilometers an hour south.
How many cats fell out of that cat? All right. Next one comes in from Ties_AU. When I was really young, we lived on a farm. My mum was doing the dishes one day, and our dog started barking really loudly from the backyard. She yelled at the dog to shut up and kept washing the dishes. The barking continued. She took a couple of steps towards the backyard, yelled again, and went back to the dishes. The barking continued. Frustrated, she went out to the backyard only to discover our dog standing between the toddler version of me and a snake. The dog got a big boy dinner that night.
Yeah, that's some steak right there.
That dog was you in dog form, and the snake was every animal that you meet.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
I mean, I have a dog, and at that point, my dog, after a couple of like shut up bows, that dog would have like
Would have
just be
offered
like,
you
all
up
right,
as a
sure, like
situation."
take him.
Yeah.
This is a lesson.
And if that dog hadn't have stood in between the snake and Ties AU,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have had Lol Ties,
We
who
wouldn't have
now
had
is
Lol
Ties AU,
Yeah.
who has now become Lol Ties again somehow. So it would have been, and Snowball Esports, a third of it just gone,
Just gone.
falls into the nether.
There you go. So really, that dog should be on the Snowball Esports table.
In reality, there is a universe out here where Snowball doesn't annoy the shit out of me every week. So maybe, I'm thinking about it still, Ties.
I just feel like if we're going to get a pet on the OPL now,
Yep.
we just could script that one.
That's good because it would protect us from snakes. There's a lot around here in the middle of the city. It's Dan Crowd, my mate Dan. When I first got my sausage dog, he loved eating hair. One day,
Ooh.
one of his poos had a thread of hair through the middle and it acted like a chain, attaching his poo to his butthole. When he was pooping, the poop bumped against his leg and he freaked out and took off. He obviously kept bumping against his leg, so he kept running, but also kept stopping to finish his poo. So every 2 or so meters, he'd squat, freak out, run, squat, freak out, run, squat, freak out, etc. Eventually I caught him and had to pull the hair out of his butt in front of a cafe.
no.
That really hurts animals, actually, eating hair and pooping out hair.
Don't bum out the funny story.
I apologise, but you should try and prevent your animals from doing that because your stomach acid doesn't break down hair.
At Little Lady Cook, I had a Tamagotchi once, but it kept dying on me at the end. So there you go.
Wow.
That's a great story. That's a fantastic
Do
story.
you remember that little Digimon game
Oh my god, he's a
He's
No,
right.
where like if you started with a Digimon and then like if you didn't look after it, it just turned into Sukumon, which is that poo Digimon.
Oh yes, yes.
Sometimes I would look after it like you would not believe. I'd take it to the gym, I'd give it all of its vitamins, Nick, and it would still turn into Sukumon. Why did I keep getting poo Digimon?
Because Digimon are poo, Pokemon were OP. Joshua Harding, this is a long one. We owned a ferret. It had free run in the house and was always active unless it was asleep, so we kept the bathroom and toilet doors shut in case it got into the water. Partner gets home and asks where the ferret is. I freak out because normally he would have run to the door. I look around for a few rooms, then realise the laundry door was open and the floor drain cover was removed and pushed aside. A little 10 centimetre shiny cover thing. So I grab a torch, shine down the drain, and I can see what I figure must be the ferret. We couldn't reach down to it, but he started squirming a bit and seemed stuck at the bend. We called a few plumbers, but most said they had no one who could get out there because it was after 6 p.m. Then one called back saying one of their apprentices was driving past the area to footy training and he could drop in. A few minutes later, this tall, lanky dude rocks up. We show him the drain. He has a go reaching down this drain pipe, but it was too narrow for him to open his hand and grab the ferret, but he could feel the fur. It's all wet and gross. He's basically to his shoulder in this drain. Then he quickly brings his arm up, saying, ow, because the ferret must have bit him. He thinks for a second, and we can see he's too involved in this operation now. He's the only one that can help, and he has to rescue this ferret no matter what.
Does he cop a bite?
He spears his arm down once more, and we could see he must be doing something down there. Turns out he was annoying the ferret to make it bite him again, because as he slowly brought his arm up came the ferret, bitten and latched onto his hand. And both the arm and the ferret covered in nasty black sludgy slime. He didn't even officially charge us for it, so we gave him 50 bucks cash. We cleaned up the ferret and he was all fine and lived for years after that. The plumber died of rabies 6 weeks later. I added the last bit.
I respect that. But my only question is, if I'm a ferret,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
I've gone down the drain.
Yep.
How am I mouth towards the drain?
I mean, ferrets can spin like a hamster,
Yeah,
I
well,
assume.
that's what I'm like. Is it possible for a ferret in that like S bend to just be like, yeah?
I reckon the ferret was genuinely trying to like Mission Impossible style escape. Like it had a tiny screwdriver, took the thing off, pushed it aside, lowering itself into the drain. Like
that's the only
covers
way
it over
you
again.
get back up is if you're like, hold me, I'm going.
Exactly.
down,
Yeah. Okay, so the next one, I won't say the name of the person because it spoils the story. I'll say it afterwards. Took the dog to the vet, first time at this vet, so the nurse at the counter had our details over the phone. We go in, the vet goes, how is Phoenix today? I reply, I'm good. Vet says, good to hear, just put Phoenix on the table. I say, oh, the dog's name is Amy, my name is Phoenix. Which is hilarious. Come on. The girl's name is Phoenix a lion. What a
I
bug.
wish you just got on the table.
That would have been very funny.
Yeah.
Would you have hopped on the table?
Yeah.
I'm just going to put that there. Okay, 2 more and then we're done. Dave O'Erlo, when I was a small child, this is another reason for you to hate Dave. When I was a small child, 3 to 4 years old, I was chasing my aunt's cat around her house. The cat decided to try to hide from me in the dryer. It must have been ready to go because I closed the door on the cat and it started up. Apparently, my aunt heard the cat trying to run inside the on dryer like a treadmill, but it got tripped up by the bars inside to tumble the clothes. The cat was fine, although when it came out, it resembled a cartoon cat with how puffed up its fur was. It had a healthy dislike of children after that.
Yeah, no shit, Dave.
Yeah, that's like a war crime
It is.
on World Wildlife Day. Which also, we need to change the name of that. It's very difficult to say. And finally, this one comes in from, Rogue, the player.
Rogue.
Rogue. You know Rogue. Rogue's mum. Rogue dog story. When Jake was born, I had a dog named Ernie. Named him after Ernie from Sesame Street. Jake couldn't say Ernie, so he called him Nerny Doggy. It was so cute. And then she sent a picture of Rogue and Nerny. Oh, come on.
Is there another one? Wasn't there 2 pictures?
Yeah, the other one was out of focus, and I refused to put that on this professional broadcast. So there you go. There's a bunch of dog stories. We've run out of time. I have a stack more, but thank you very much for all the...
Turns out people liked animals.
They really do.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Curveball.
Continue sending in your pictures of dogs to replace
I was
Bailey
kind
as
of,
the-
like, with
as
our
the-
demographic, I was kind of thinking that we were going to get, like, Neopets or My Little Pony stories only.
Oh.
But everyone grows up with animals. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a kid in this digital age.
I'm trying to insult the Twitch chat, Nick. Don't get in
sorry,
between me and insulting Twitch chat.
Sorry.
It's his moment now.
Yeah, no, I wrecked everything.
Get out of here with your logic.
Someone who's going to wreck something for someone else. Whew, Segway special right there. It's Star Wars versus Legacy. This is the banger, quote unquote. Even though I would say last game, pretty bangerific. Skimming.
I feel like this entire schedule today, personally, is full of great games. Just great narratives of, like, you know, people in like the top of the ladder, people in the middle of the ladder trying to break away, find their own footing. But yeah, absolutely. This one, you know, a new legacy roster up against the Direwolves that have back-to-back 2-0s, looking like they just want to dismantle them.
So my thing is, in my opinion, there's been 2 upsets so far. 2 teams beat teams that they hadn't previously beaten in the start of the season, which is the definition of an upset, ladies and gentlemen at home. Shut up. Who beating who here is an upset? Is the informed Direwolves, without any roster changes, beating the newly formed Legacy, who have just dropped their star player, an upset? Or is Legacy, with a man that had to have spinal surgery and is now half man, half machine, formerly a top laner of the best team in the OPL, now mid laner of Legacy Esports, beating Direwolves, the informed team with no changes, the upset?
I mean, it sounds like a team with the Terminator is the one with the advantage here, just from the way that was explained. Some say strict upset, Direwolves win.
It absolutely is. Let's take a look at the team with the Terminator. This is the Legacy lineup. Please, Skimming.
Yep, still going to be Tapoon playing in the top lane. It's going to be Babbitt in the jungle. Tally flexing.
Photos of Tally.
I know, no old school resurrection of that. He's the mystery man in the mid lane. Raze and Isles still round at their bottom lane with Coach Jensen on hand. So going to be really interested to see what Tally can bring in this new role.
And we are right about to get into the game. So, Jake, can you quickly talk us through the Direwolves lineup?
Absolutely. Chibi in start playing mid jungle. It's going to be Shock in the mid lane. It's going to be Vital is his name. I can't remember his name. Decoy in support position and Coach Cut.
There you go. It is Direwolves versus Legacy. It's happening right now.
Direwolves will win.
Direwolves will win?
I'm tipping it.
There you go.
Tipping the upset.
Tipping the upset. And Skimming, quick point.
Direwolves.
Direwolves, there you go. I'm going to take Legacy just because I'm a contrarian. We'll be back after the Macca's Champ Select.
It's the big one of the day. Legacy taking on Direwolves, as the couch did remind us. It's a new face in the mid lane. No longer the star player in Eminez. He's moved on and been replaced by a player of old in Tallywhacker. Not going to have the easiest home-working partner.
Tally. We've dropped the... There is no whacker on this screen.
Well, you know, I wanted to try to sound relevant for a second there, Rusty. You've ruined my entrance. But regardless.
His name got changed for a reason is all I'm saying. Like a certain Ejim out there, we don't announce the old name.
Tally, the man on your screen right now, only going to have a rather brutal home welcoming party up against Direwolves, who are hot on their heels.
Yeah, it's one of the harder games to join, that's for certain. And of course, note that Tally is a storied player in the OPL in 2 lanes mainly. One of them being top lane, the other one being mid. AD. Why did I say mid? Now he's mid. And so we don't really know what to expect from Tally coming into a game like this. Will he even be the mid laner? Is a question we have to ask. Or will Tapoon play it? Because he is notoriously the Karma player, you know, the mage type player. So we don't actually know yet.
Interesting to see where that flex does come out, but this draft, it's incredibly quick so far.
Well, that's a top lane champion that can be played mid, so I'm going to say that it is Tally playing mid in this game. But, you know, we'll see as the draft progresses. Just where they choose to go. Now, on the opposing side, we've seen the Misfortune, we've seen the Jarvan. A good start to a team fight composition with Syndra banned. Makes you wonder where Direwolves will go. And with the matchup known, I actually do wonder if this is the game we get the Zillion from our TikTok Shock in mid lane. Of course, not to be seen just yet.
Let's see where they go with this banning direction. What are Direwolves scared of so far? What do they need to get themselves online? What have they found out from the limited scrims that Legacy have had so far? Rek'Sai going to be taken away here. A second jungle ban, focusing on to Babbitt, knowing how strong he was before and how he's been a fantastic aid
in getting these lanes online, and you can imagine there's going to be a fair bit of priority, potentially, to try and make sure that Tally can do his job too.
So I think what we'll see here from Direwolves, again, pretty predictable in the way that they draft the second phase. Doesn't mean that you can beat it, but predictable, is that they'll probably go towards 2 jungle champion bans and then pick in a jungler that they just think will be fine and can't be beaten by anything. So if it's a Rek'Sai ban, maybe a Gragas to follow if they're looking for a Lee Sin, but they've already got the Jarvan, right? So it seems like they're just taking things away that they think are scary from the side of Legacy. And that's why the Rek'Sai one does stand out as curious to me. You know, Babib has played it, has been successful. You've highlighted that before, but very specific ban, isn't it?
We've got an idea in mind right now. Very aggressive free pick so far for Direwolves. Cassiopeia, the final one here for Legacy. Looking to try and make that matchup as easy as it can be for Tally. Shock's been fantastic so far. And if they lock in at this LeBlanc, then they want to give him a massive skill check to deal with.
I still stand by the Zillion for Shock, but LeBlanc is one of the champions that he can play. Would never be surprising to see that one locked in, as Mir needs to get his hair fixed.
Even Coach Kai getting involved.
Look good, feel good. Galio with a mid laner of choice here, it seems.
Okay. Fair emphasis now would seem on obviously having engagement tools, but some protection as well, and that's going to be a Scion.
Once again, makes you wonder. When you've got Topoon and Tally on a team, they can play both of those champions. So we don't know what is going top lane yet. Chippies does have the counter pick. He has the last pick in draft being on that red side. So now he knows part of it. Yeah.
Trundle locked in as the final one. And Chippy's gonna stick to the Camille.
No one should be surprised. If you're a League of Legends player or viewer of the past year, it's Camille Galio. That's the WE at Worlds in 2017 type of composition. Yeah, this has existed for a long time. Camille, Galio, Jarvan. Now they've got the modern bot lane of a Mist Fortune who needs to change summoner spells. And a Leona. Like, that's a dangerous team fighting composition. That's a powerhouse comp that can get anywhere around the map with their R buttons. But that's what they are. They're an R button comp. The side of Legacy, I think, is a bit more of the slow burner type of game. You've got Trundle Scion that actually does work nicely together. In fact, Trundle working with Victor Ultimate is nice. Nautilus can hit hooks as well if it's done well. I think that's the wild card champion in the draft here that can do some good things for the side of Legacy.
A lot of initiation, a lot of lockdown, a lot of protection.
Hey, Bailey.
And Bailey, to make sure that these star 80 carries can do their job. Direwolves have a score to settle. The last time these two teams played each other, Direwolves only able to find 3 kills. Legacy finding 22. Different roster. It's the rematch. And Coach Jensen for Legacy is on standby. Welcome as always, my friend. And obviously the burning question for everyone right now is, how are we feeling about the reunion for Tally coming back in, but also the preparation that you've been able to have with the limited time available?
Well, I think it's a new challenge, and I like to bring the various flavors of the countries and regions I've coached in. So we are going to see a little bit of what I call the Vietnam special in this game. I'm not going to spoil it for the viewers just yet, but when the game loads out onto the roof, we're going to see what happens and enjoy the show.
Is this... Okay, I feel like I know what you're talking about. How do you think Vietnam matches up against China when we're talking about draft differences here?
Well, I do think that the Chinese players sort of like rapidly skirmishing. It's a question of who gets the advantage early, right? Because they share very similar play styles, and whilst in Vietnam, you got a lot of scrims against the Chinese teams as well. So it's a lot about skirmishing over objectives, but that's kind of not the way that we have been playing. I've been molding them to play more of a European style, trade objectives for map control and stuff like that. So we're going to see how things turn out.
Well, Mir is going to check that out and baits Chippies into a false sense of security.
Mir's just going to think that was a magic trick, to be honest with you. Chippies loses vision. He's now about to check.
Oh no, Chippies don't do it. The double baits. Well. Oh, the hook as well. Fantastic here from Legacy. Are they going to burn the flash? They are. And they're going to get the kills as well.
Well, Jensen, things are going pretty well for you so far.
Showing that Vietnam maybe have the slight early game edge over on China. Now, talk to me about some of these picks in particular. So we haven't seen the likes of Sion or Trundle much. Even a sign at all, quite honestly. So, you know, Topoon, he's been playing a fair bit of enchanting in the top lane. Was this a clear direction with a new a new player in Tally to say, look, we want you to go into something a little bit different this time around?
I mean, we're in the OPL. They talk about playing the down under bot lanes, and this is what we're going to try here. And that's what we have here. It's a lane swap, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I just noticed that as well. So this is what your attempt here is. Sion into Camille is obviously not the best matchup. So you are looking to avoid that one and play the map. There's been some changes to turret. So what's your thinking here? Why is a lane swap the best option for you?
When you go for a lane swap, what you do is that you deny gold and experience away from the top laner. And I realized that teams like Direwolves, and I think that this could be a strategy against the Chiefs as well, they like to funnel resources towards the top laner. So things like Camille, if they get behind the gold and EXP curve, it is very difficult for them to play the game. So going for lane swaps, you're trading effectively the turret gold on the bottom side of the map due to the fortification in exchange for this lane dynamic that happens.
Beautiful. Well, let's kick it off, Jensen. Best of luck for this one here. And we'll get to see a new revised composition taking on the Direwolves. As we started off. 2 kills only into this game so far, Rusty. 2 minutes. It was a exchange in the top lane. Surprise party.
There's a lot to unpack here. It's very hard to ask questions again to Jensen when the level 1 strategies are so intricate. And I think the lane swap is the most surprising aspect of it all. And that's not to say that, you know, lane swaps are unknown. But when we look at what happens here at level 1, of course, Chippies, it's about the vision and timing. And that is really tragic timing for the side of Direwolves. They'll watch that VOD review back and just be quite sad, honestly, with the outcome of that. And the second kill for Chippies is it's just a shame. It's the type of thing where, is it necessary? You know, you'll ask yourself that question. I think the fact that he dies makes it very clear that it's not. And this is one of those things that will set up the game. And from here, you're like, okay, 2 kills, that's pretty rough. Like, that's pretty rough. But I am still a Camille into a Sion. I'll survive. And then suddenly they've lane swapped on top of these kills. And Chippies doesn't have flash, so he can't play League of Legends. And now they've matched this Direwolves, but Babip's already here. And again, this is a rehearsed strategy. This is a practice thing from Legacy from the get-go. You can tell they know what they're doing. And this is where what you have to do is actually look at who's playing this game, who's been in a lane swap meta. Decent amount of Legacy have. At least enough people with a voice in that team would have been a part of the lane swaps. Chippies has experienced this 100% in the past, whereas Decoy and Vital maybe less so. And I think that's where, you know, we'll start to see these differences of opinions, because it does feel frantic and fast-paced if things are going wrong. Like, why is a Sion farming and not a Camille? Why is a tank now able to beat me in this matchup that I 10th picked in draft, that I counter-picked for?
And how crippled does he feel, the fact that Chippies doesn't have the flash right now? Does that change the matchup much?
Oh, I mean, for sure. And it's not just the flash. It's the fact that he was the one that then reset and went to bot lane. So he's now spent time walking to lane, where Topoon's been farming, getting a level lead as well above all else. Now he has control of the lane, you know, 5-3 in experience right now. Because while Chippies was copying at top lane and was zoned, Topoon was soaking experience, right? It's just because you initiate the lane swap when your opponents weren't ready, very hard to deal with and make the perfect move straight away.
Well, Legacy definitely crushing it in this first 5 minutes, able to get a deep vision wall down to scout out. If a bit of attention comes from Miru, top lane, as a result of bullying out Chippies and burning that flash, we're able to get some turret plates as well, so you can see that's why the gold is a 1k lead. Rather sizable at this small moment in the game, and Miru's been camping topside for such a long time right now, really trying to find some form of equalization, but...
Yeah, he's keeping Vital and Decoy, it seems, happy. Playing towards bot lane, very difficult to do. It's now bouncing back, so Chippies is in not just weak side laning, but if they don't find that Trundle, pretty rough spot to be, Chippies, just full stop.
Babip is going to find that.
Shock now moving, so they are looking for the dive.
Last cone denies. We'll obviously have the flag and drag, but Legacy are trying to buy as much time as possible. They might just turn it around. What looked like a lane crash to gank upon turns on its head as Babip was the one being jumped on.
And I wonder why they didn't see that one coming, honestly, for the side of Legacy. Babip just was perhaps looking towards making the play, take down mid, but Shock was already here. And Tally's recalling during all of this in mid lane. So the Galio difference is obviously going to be significant. And that really is just it. They make the play, Legacy. Perhaps it was them being proactive, but that quickly comes back to hurt them. Jungler shows, so Chippies is actually content to at least walk up in the lane now. He can't crash it though. Topoon's making his life very difficult.
A little bit awkward there for him, as Topoon is the one to hit level 6 first right now. Curious to see what his Sion is like. If we get to see some need for speed, or maybe a bit of Tokyo drifting around the map.
I've played a lane swap before. It's weird. Weirdly enough, it was when I was playing for Legacy as a sub, like 2014. And can I just say, it's the most mentally taxing role in the same way that it isn't in the game. The reason it's taxing is the first time you do it, it's overwhelming. You know, you've got all these different things. You just have to leave minions. Like, to not touch a minion is devastating for your mental. You're like, that is just
You've
gold
been conditioned.
that I'm
I need money.
watching die just to get the experience if I'm lucky.
Got the lane swap police knocking on your door saying, don't do it, Rusty.
But once you get used to it, and once that became a standard style, you're like, this is just the way it is. But, you know, this is one of those anomaly games that we'll see, and Legacy are proving that they have the strategic depth to pull this one off. Right now, it's doing wonders for Topoon in his matchup.
Well, the question in my mind had to be, you know, does the identity of Legacy change too much? We've seen them try to play fast up against Chiefs. We've seen them play traditionally a little bit more macro-focused and a bit more side lane pressure. What version of Legacy would we see today? And right now, they are giving Chippies a member on this squad that has been so influential in just acquiring small leads, building it up, drawing so much pressure to his lane, allowing his other teammates
And his zone,
to find love.
He has to be zoned here. You know, they're stealing a blue buff. They're not diving him, but he doesn't know. Like, what can Chippies do? If he goes up to that wave and they are diving him, he just dies. So look at all the minions that have started to go missing. I think finally, again, you'll see them show themselves on the rest of the map. It was Victor in mid lane that gives it away. So he comes back and he catches the next wave, but he loses another 6 CS, you know? Now the response has to come in on the other side. Teleports are in.
Direwolves are trying to find some advantage. They're losing bot lane. Well, they better win top lane. They collapse on Raze, and boy, do they collapse. They get that kill. Decoy very, very low. Ignite, and the minions will keep him sub-healthy.
Oh, he's dead.
But Tally rocks up to the fight a little bit late, comes on through with the laser and says thank you very much for that little kill.
Yeah, Deco goes on a little bit of an expedition away from the rest of his team there, Skimmy.
No blast cone, no love.
Doesn't choose to go through the lane like the rest of them do. And this game was becoming a little bit of a shock is making up the difference is how it felt. But Tally does get the response this time around, so at least equalizes that roam. However, Direwolves are still making decent decisions around their bottom lane, using the Galio, using the composition that they have to still get something back. And it is only 600 gold really the difference between these teams. And when it comes to it, we'll see if a steal's even possible. The answer is no. It is still a Camille ultimate that has relevance because he has been given a Jarvan and a Galio to work with. So he may not be killing people, but he's still got that R button, and that's what matters. Is we see this again, Raze level 5. He was 6. Maybe this goes Decoy immediately dying as the dive happens. Isles is just going to choose to walk away here, however. Now Decoy could just walk through the lane. Just walk through the lane. But he doesn't.
Goes on an adventure, pays the price. Both junglers hungry for level 6 right now, falling behind the supports. A lot of that mainly revolving around the fact they've been camping these lanes to prevent any kind of double lost lane situation. Direwolves able to find a little bit of love in that top side.
Chippies walks to top lane, sees the bottom lane there, recalls. Well, now walk to bottom lane. And during the time that he is walking to that lane, he chooses not to actually. They may go for the kill. During that time, though, Topoon is going to push this wave in.
Just keeps farming.
Might build up a stacked wave, which is, you know, usually the normal way to play that. Bring the jungler down to threaten, but Chippies is still missing, so Topoon is just playing carefully.
They cancelled his recall again. He's waiting. Raze gets down the turret, buying more time. Chippies looking to be engaged. Beautiful interrupt there by Isles, but the bullet time gets stacked on top by Chippies as well, who gets him for a first of what looks to be a double kill right now, as Isles finds a lot of value with that depth charge. Solar Flare landing perfectly. Miru on the hunt. Does have Cataclysm now.
No Aftershock, I think, for Isles. No flash either, so the Cataclysm would lock him in place. They want to crash the wave first. That's why Mir's just playing goalkeeper, keeping the minions here so that it will crash, and now they'll dive.
They are looking for this one. He's got no support because Legacy are pushing mid-wave.
Oh, the heal was there, actually equalized. The damage was like, looked weird. Now, the takeaway from that for me was patience from Raze and Isles would have made this just positive. They step a little bit too close. While Topoon has no one responding to him in bottom wave, who has Ignite on the Scion, so wants to be sitting in that wave farming. But once again, it's first turret for Direwolves. They trade, they get kills for it as well. And so while this is still very good from Legacy in the way that they're getting some control, they're still giving so many ins to their respective opponents. And I don't actually know what happened here. It looks like Shock must have died because there was a Trundle here, so...
Yeah, that's the CC overlap that you were talking about.
Okay, so the block on the dash from Babip there is all it really takes to lock that one down, and then they just dive while Babip tanks the turret using that ultimate. Nice stuff.
The frustrating element really of Galio. Takes one step back to go 2 steps forward.
Well, that's the thing with Trundle, right? Into Galio as well. You have to dash backwards to go forward. Pillar, you just headbutt it. Like, that's a very hard matchup to play when you get ganked in the first place, let alone him using his physical presence to block you as well.
Guarantees the static field on the floor, making it an easy CC pairing between jungle and mid. Well, Legacy have had enough of the side lane shenanigans, as you highlight.
Herald.
They decide it's time for us to group up. Let's utilize this Herald. Let's get this final plate down before the 2 turret true damage comes on through. They won't find it, so that turret will survive.
Yeah, they may have thought that that was enough damage to take the turret down. I actually did think that for a second, but it survives.
Yep, 2 plates is what you're looking at. And they need to find some love right now. Yes, they've denied out what Chippies can do in this game, but that advantage has been felt elsewhere. Vital, 17-year-old Korean prodigy on this roster. He's 3-0 so far, smashing kills.
There's no minions here.
And he's in the bot lane looking to jump on towards Tapoon and say, let me find vengeance for Chippies. 3 members here, Decoy juggling the aggro perfectly, but remember, Sion has this afterlife. Double stopwatch, can he get his punch on? He gets Miru low, the stun is there!
Direwolves just play with such little health bars. Stopwatch is the MVP in that dive. That felt like, you look at that and without stopwatch, you don't dive that. That could have been 2 kills.
Wow.
Give it over to Tapoon. But they do get away unscathed. The cost was high, but they make it work. Meanwhile, of course, the rest of the map still suffering, as the time spent and effort spent for getting that kill was still quite high.
Direwolves investing a fair bit of resource into ensuring that if they make a play, it does find effect. But we'll see how it started off. Originally with Decoy going in, he gets a stopwatch.
Yeah.
Miru follows up with a stopwatch.
The slow
as
burner.
you say,
You know, it was a good flash from Tapoon. He buys some time. Decoy, the last possible second, used his stopwatch. Mir would die if he didn't use it as well. And that's scary, with a Sion ready to sprint at your head. But Vital tanks the turret, or at least gets the turret aggro towards him as well, and Decoy only gets the 1 shot after the turret aggro reset, so the damage did as well. Able to walk away.
it's the close game we expected. Both Drakes online, 1 apiece, and we are getting an Ocean Rift. You get the Ocean Soul for one of these teams.
Yeah, nasty.
Spells a disaster. We've seen that before. Very small leads for either team.
Still, I think the big takeaway for me is the fact that Direwolves have been able to even, keep the game close to even is very impressive. Their dives with their bottom lane has been wonderful. Because you feel like when you watch the flow of this game from the way it started, it shouldn't be as close as it is, That's always scary for the side of Legacy. Direwolves have not only kept up with you when they should be behind, but they've been really keeping you down, and they've been keeping Raze down in particular.
Yep.
Now Tally, first game back in the OPL is 2-0.
Not a bad showing. We talk about if there were any nerves or perhaps
Oh, no
a little bit of roughness of saying, well, welcome back to the OPL. Come versus Direwolves. They're 3rd, you're 2nd.
Mr. Bionic Man does not have any nerves.
He's definitely ready to get his punch on as well. Direwolves are saying we want to fight. Instantly the stopwatch coming out to Tally. They want that shutdown goal. They'll find it because he has got nothing to survive in this exchange. Legacy once again on the back foot. And you talk about it, Rusty. They press R. They get kills.
Yeah, absolutely. But that was a lot of them used, and it was still close to getting a trade back there. You can see Mir's health bar on that Jarvan as he recalls was very low. And now that all of them are down, Legacy, they've grouped up in mid, and it requires the last ultimate really remaining on the map to even try and save the turret. It still goes down.
Kills the minion wave, but Tapoon just walks in the face of adversity. He is not phased by it because he's going to go for the reset. And Chippy's not a familiar scoreline for him. 0-1-2.
30
He's got
CS
some
down
catching up.
to a Sion is never a good thing. Being behind and farm to a tank is just the worst experience. In saying that, while he hasn't got close to the items that he needs, once he gets them, it is still a Camille versus Sion. Once you have the Trinity Force and the Ravenous Hydra, you are still pretty much impossible to deal with. But it feels like that has bought so much time for Legacy, where the Sion is relevant and can start grouping up with his team using the ultimate down lanes as well. That's where things get really scary, actually, for Direwolf. Saying that, we're looking at it as a
doesn't have teleport.
no ultimates there.
He was actually palming his way up, but yeah, as you say, Dai will say, we're not going to contest this one. Go back to lane, keep farming it up. Bottom tier 1 is going to fall on down. Let them have this Rift Herald.
Yeah. With no Galio ultimate, no Camille ultimate, it becomes a lot harder to make any combos work. You still have a Jarvan Galio, but the ultimate combo here from Direwolves is Camille locks down a target, Galio ults on that target, and if Jarvan gets into the fray at the same time and locks down multiple people, flashes are forced, right? It's just really easy to play when this used to be like an Exodia comp. Like, you don't give people those 3 champions together because it works too well. You know, Jarvan could just ult someone, have to flash out, suddenly Camille Galio is free, right? If you don't have flash and the Camille hookshot's in, you're caught.
Yep, not going to have much love with a cleanse in that situation there. Although, speaking of, both Tally and Raze will have that online as their summoner of choice. Tally cycling through it with that summoner spell, but a rune choice.
Yeah, but cleanse doesn't get rid of damage.
But that's what we're saying.
The other thing that they still have.
You're left in this awkward situation of like, I can maybe run away, but you just have so much damage front loaded in.
You need the cleanse and the zoners. Victor can do that. It's definitely possible for him to have.
Bit more awkward for Raze.
Yep.
Going to be heavily reliant on these tanks to buy him some time, some space, some room to work with. Because Vital right now is hitting those points. And you know what this guy can do when that misfortune gets online.
And finally hit some slow-paced gameplay in the midst of what has been a pretty crazy start to this game. Definitely delivering on our expectations for being a good game of League of Legends so far. Vital farming up a Storm is someone that you're going to have to keep looking at as he completes his second item shortly, you would hope.
And kudos to Direwolves, right, to respond in the fashion they did against the crazy 5-minute early start. To not fall victim to, well, I guess we're behind, I guess we're in trouble, because Raze is the one in trouble again, forced to burn the flash. It doesn't matter, flash cleanse, but damage, Rusty, damage will do it.
Yeah, once Direwolves, if they finally engage, you are pretty much just locked down and dead. Good flash from Raze, good cleanse, but it's not going to save him because they just flash in response and follow. Leona hits the E, so the easiest possible engage tool from Direwolves was used. Now the mid lane outer turret is broken and matches that of Legacy that they took earlier. Legacy with very good wards, but I don't think it stops anything, unfortunately, as death still comes towards them.
And Direwolves just finding so many opportunities, just so many single picks. Getting a pick, then a tower, getting a pick, and a neutral objective as a result. So just slowly working their way methodically into a lead. The gold still has been quite even, but definitely the presence on the map is very much felt.
It does seem like they're very clearly going towards a damage-oriented build here. Everyone except the Leona is going damage and DPS-oriented. It's not a tank Jarvan, which is usually seen. It's going to be the Warrior enchantment into the Black Cleaver from the looks of it. Another random Ruby Crystal in there as well. Most likely the Phage. And again, full AD. So Trundle may not get any extra stats from taking it away from him, but there's still a Leona to take them from. And that does mean that they're fragile. You know, they will be able to smack people around. Whoever they catch is caught and will cop it. But if Raze throws a big ultimate down and locks them all down, if Tally just gets that lingering Chaos Storm and finds them, they really hurt themselves. So for me, this is a lot now about the execution as we see the forthcoming fights.
Vital maybe taking that memo a little bit too seriously on damage, once again. Only now getting the boots, I hope. I've got to wait to see if he does get them. Yep.
He doesn't like boots.
He just doesn't like boots.
Why is this a recurring trend?
He just wants damage, Rusty. He doesn't care about mobility. He just relies on the Misfortune passive.
I think his runes have gone towards stopwatch as well. Is this the patch where stopwatches cost went up 50? Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm a fan of it.
I don't mind it at all.
I just, you know, boots are nice as well. You can't forsake boots to have a stopwatch.
But it's working from so far. Up by 60 CS. A very big bounty on his head as well.
You know what? If Sion's pressing Q and I'm just, you know, I'm in range of that Q, I've probably made a mistake already, given that my comp puts everyone in front of me.
Yeah. That's
worth considering.
Yep.
But at the same time, I would like Boots to dodge the Q. I would like Boots to outrun a Chaos Storm from Tally's Victor. There's definitely reasons that we want them before 21 minutes. I'm not going to have to say this every time Vital plays, am I?
Every time there's a Vital Direwolf match, you just got your eyes permanently fixated. When do the boots come? Decoy locked up in CC as Direwolf's now established some vision around this Baron. They completely clear out what Legacy had set down.
Knight's Vow is the item of choice here as well from Babip, going the full tank CDR Trundle route. Like mentioned during the draft phase, the Pillar is actually a pretty important spell for the rest of his composition and making everything else connect.
Well, between like what, the Knight's Vow, the Solari, everything really thrown into what you'd imagine would be raised to make sure, please live.
Well, yeah, there's 2 big carries on the team, and they are mixed damage, so they have an AD and an AP champion, and Tally and a Raze on the Victor and Aphelios, which is nice. They've also both got cleanse, so they're all about surviving, right? Well, the rest of the team is all about allowing them to survive.
Yeah. Being the sponges of the squad.
Definitely something worth noting, but just like they have all of those things to protect them, I still think it's important they have Flash. If they don't have Flash, they are in trouble. And right now, Raze is the only one of the 2 that doesn't, so he is the most likely person to die if a fight happens.
Big concerns for Legacy if one of those carries were to fall on down, because otherwise they are lacking in the damage. And Direwolf's been able to find those picks pretty well so far.
Well, that's it, right? We've got a bunch of meat shields.
It's like meat shields versus this all-out damage. We're jumping in, we're fully, fully committing.
When Leona wasn't such a gross champion, it was tanky enough for everyone. She sure is. They even control what at mid lane here, Direwolf's definitely looking to control the map more aggressively now. Even getting rid of the lane wards to maintain priority if they can. It's also now a bait ward. You know, the misfortune showing, you're like, oh, there's someone waiting in the wings, but you don't know if it's a Jarvan. Leona hits ult, suddenly there's a Galio.
And that's so frustrating to look at, right? Because your muscle instincts just want to click him.
Yeah, they're just dangling carrots. But now they have full control of topside river with Drake spawning in 37, and then the Scuttle Crab controlling the other side of the map. Very clear where Direwolves are looking to play this game out with, and they still want to find, they still want to press their R buttons before they do the Baron if they can. But if they start Baron, they've got a Leona to tank it up, and then they just turn and burn.
Ray's been having a bit of a rough time trying to keep up in that CS, falling ever further behind by 60 CS now. Tally, meanwhile, has been collecting and catching all that side lane XP. He's the one in the driving seat, as you can see by starting off this ultimate. Babip with the flash! That was a bit of an interesting interaction with the Proto Belt.
Did he just Proto Belt over the trophy?
I think he was ahead of it.
Didn't look like it though.
It looked as if...
Unusual.
It was a very bizarre interaction.
They have started off Baron. Flash is available for Raze here as well now.
All right, well, Legacy want to try and make something happen. Direwolf's going for the pincer from left and right. Chippy's looking for it. Baron down to 700. Baron gets taken by Legacy. Mirror is so low. He's out. No Cataclysm. Can't use it just yet. Legacy looking for it. Tally flashes out. He's on 10 health. Raze gets the double kill. He gets the triple. He gets a quadra kill. I just said how far behind he was in this game. If he lives, if the meat shields survive and do their job, Raze is a teamfight god.
And Direwolves were the one who had all of the vision control on top side. They look at Drag and they even consider going in that direction. And not only does Babip go top lane to force something from Shock, keep him out of the start of that fight, but the rest of Direwolves were so late to get there that they couldn't set up and play the composition out with Vital by any means whatsoever. His ult was late. He gets immediately Nautilus hooked and dies, and Legacy, after the Baron, gets the team fight as well. Look at where the Misfortune is, running through mid lane as they're breaking the fight out. If there was a Misfortune bullet time during this combo, Legacy probably died. But the difference in health bars was just so minimal there. And then, of course, Raze gets the auto attack off just as Tally flashes away. He then flashes forwards himself, and it's an easy quadra for him. The tank survived, they persevered, because the damage wasn't there.
Disgusting micro from
If
Tally.
Vital had boots, he would have been there. Where are your boots?
I need to actually look at their game against Pentanet and
Why do
see.
you have a Torrens?
When did he buy boots against Pentanet? That's what we need to find out.
Oh, I'm actually upset.
Because this, if it's going to become a weekly occurrence, this is going to tilt us.
Well, you know what they say. You win some, you lose some. Sometimes you just don't get boots. He probably, you know what it is? I'm talking myself into reasons now. He probably thinks he had magical footwear, but it was stopwatch, and his brain's like, those are boots.
Was it the game against Pentanet? Because it says here he bought boots at 11 minutes in that one.
Nah.
Must have been a different game. Because there's definitely one where it was like 30 minutes in.
It was like 25, I think.
Yeah.
Like he bought boots and then they won the game, I remember that. Anyway, we're 26 minutes into this one. He has a Doran's plate with no bags on his feet.
Well, Legacy to turn this game around. Food in the mid lane.
Good damage, but unfortunately I don't know if that damage will do a whole lot. Topun is still the Scion with 3 completed items, a decent amount of armor in his pockets as well, so Vital's not going to kill him. And he has the teleport, worst case scenario. Legacy, meanwhile, will use Tally, and they will just annihilate the health of Mir. The hook's on.
Asia's gone. The Chaos Storm's chasing him. The root coming in from the Moonlight Vigil. Raze is on the outskirts. He has no pressure. This is what Raze is susceptible to. He has no summoners. They're going to look to base in. Inhibitor's going to fall on down in that top side. They may look to try and end this game as the respawn time is of 30 to 40 seconds. Only 3 members surviving. 27 minutes in. Legacy are looking to try and end this one. It's a last-ditch effort as Chippy jumps in. He gets the shutdown. A big component of this one. Can they find more? Tally locked up in place. Decoy going to fall on down, but Isles gets Chippies. Legacy get the victory in this situation, getting the full 5-man ace. And this was a fantastic game that showcased energy from left, right, and center. But the Baron Pit with the quadra kill, with the outplay flash to juke out the Cataclysm, Legacy are here to stay.
No upset to be seen today. The Bionic Man comes in. Tally with a very good showing, of course, on that Victor. And Legacy, they show once again that they are all class. You give them an advantage, you give them a moment, and they do just win the entire game from it. It doesn't matter who the mid laner is, it seems. But Jimmy comes in, puts on a very good showing for himself as an end result.
Worrying moments during that mid-game where they were able to find picks and Legacy were crumbling apart in those side lanes. They kept calm, they kept cool, they kept collected. They said, look, come to us. We want to go for a team fight. Direwolves took the bait. And Direwolves fell victim to the strength
Now
of
all
the
he
boys
needs
in green.
is some black pants.
There's only one green in this league, and it's light green, apparently. No dark green.
What?
Direwolves are dark green.
Oh. Wow. Thanks for that.
50 Shades of Green?
Wow. Can we throw?
I'm definitely
I
going to
think-
say something about 50 Shades of Grey, so you shouldn't throw it back to us. I mean, Direwolves stuck in that game longer than we expected.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the way that game starts, right, is a kill onto the top laner and a jungle, and then you go into immediate lane swap. That game, in all honesty, like it's not completely played out by 3.5 minutes, but is very on its way onto being played out. And Legacy's draft for the isolated lane swap was just flawless. Because what you have is Victor, who needs an isolated laning phase, and it's one of Jimmy's best champions, like even as a top laner. You have the Scion, who is one of the only champions that can 1v2. Then you have Aphelios, who's kind of like Tristana. As far as marksman goes, she's the only person that can break turrets as quickly as that. So I think like their whole draft was based around this lane swap. And when they got 2 kills and the lane swap on top of it, and Direwolves had to chase them around lanes, I mean, Tally would be able to tell you, when you have to chase lane assignments, you go down so far in CS and experience, and that game was fully in Legacy's control until they lost a couple of mid-game skirmishes, and then it got a bit hectic until the Baron.
Tally will be able to tell us because he joins us right now. Welcome back.
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you too. How did it feel slipping on the old jersey?
That's actually a large size and I asked it for a medium, so it's not as good as I thought, but it's fine.
And talk to me about Victor, because Victor was always one of your best champions when you were the top laner. How does it feel to play it in the mid lane?
Well, I don't get punished because it actually wins lanes, and like I get access to blue boss, I get to scale, so it's just like it's actually just a way better role.
And there was a meme going around when Legacy kept beating us that you were a sleeper agent planted inside Order that activated during important moments to ensure Legacy victories. James, was it true?
You're gonna have to ask Tim about that one.
So how is it to be back at your old club working with Tim and obviously the team?
Actually, coming back to pro play in general was like it was like a shock because it's like such a different environment than just like playing solo queue at home. So like I even found myself getting nervous on stage, which I never had when I was playing normally. So it's really fun to be back, especially in an environment where everyone's very competitive.
But it hasn't even been that long, really. Or has it been long in terms of like a pro career? Because, I mean, it was the end, what? You were there for Split 2 last year.
It's been like 4 months.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So it's only been 6 weeks longer than what it normally would have been. But I
Yeah.
guess you weren't doing mid sort of prep in between.
Yeah, no, I wasn't keeping like the intensive schedule that a pro player does at home. Like I was focusing on like other aspects of life. So like coming back in and going like the full 100 instead of like maybe a 60 is like, it's definitely a shock.
And talk to me about now you and Quinn on the same team. Probably the two best late game players that have ever played the OPL. Was there a lot of that chat going on? Like, just get us to 40 minutes, get us to like 4.5, 5 items, this is fine?
Actually, there's a joke on the team where everyone just builds items to help Quinn carry. Like I build a hose to slow enemies for Quinn, and Jihoon builds a locket to keep Quinn alive. Just, like Quinn will, like, I feel like playing with a player like Quinn, I always feel very confident that I'm just going to win late game, regardless of what happens.
Do we know how long you're going to be sticking around for?
Not that I know. I could be here for a very long time or a very short time.
So what were you doing when you weren't a pro player then? You said you weren't keeping the intensive pro schedule, you were focusing on other things. Apart from the unofficial duo stream, which has been wildly successful with Sinju's, what have you been up to?
I've actually been getting into gym a lot more. So I've been like trying to keep that like every like day.
Do you reckon they gave you the large jersey as aspirational?
Yeah,
then?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I've been focusing a lot more on like spending time with family when I can as well, and or like friends outside League.
Yeah.
So actually, I wasn't even playing League when Tim messaged me as well. I was on an extended vacation. I hadn't actually touched a game in probably like a week and a half.
Yeah, I heard that you're venturing through Azeroth.
Yes, I was. I was definitely raiding on WoW, and then I got a call from Tim. He's like, "Can you come sub?" I was like, "Are you sure?" So yeah, here I am.
Well, it's good to have you back. Hopefully we get to see more of you here in the future for the rest of the split.
Yes.
And potentially for years to come. It could be the shortest retirement of all time. We'll be back with more OPL after this break.
Walker trying to find some advantage. They're losing bot lane. Well, they better win top lane. They collapse on Raze, and boy, do they collapse. They get that kill. Direwolf's going for the pincer from left and right. Chippy's looking for it. Baron down to 700. Baron gets taken by Legacy. Mirror is so low. He's out. No Cataclysm. Can't use it just yet. Legacy looking for it. Tally flashes out. He's on 10 health. Raze gets the double kill. He gets the triple. He gets a quadra kill. The hook's on. Asia's gone. The Chaos Storm's chasing him. The root coming in from the Moonlight Vigil. Raze is on the outskirts. He has no pressure. 27 minutes in. Legacy are looking to try and end this one. It's a last ditch effort as Chippy jumps in. He gets the shutdown. A big component of this one. Can they find more? Tally locked up in place. Decoy gonna fall on down, but Isles gets Chippies. Legacy get the victory in this situation, getting the full 5-man ace. And this was a fantastic game that showcased energy from left, right, and center. But the Baron Pit with the quadra kill, with the outplay flash to Duke at the Cataclysm. Legacy are here to stay.
Feeling the heat? Grab a pineapple or pineberry frozen Fanta mix at Macca's. With 36 flavours, it's the largest range in Australia. Grab one for only $1. A little goes a long way at Macca's.